welcome. And if you're all sitting comfortably, then we'll begin. Hello, it's Wednesday night, which can mean only one thing in the month of January. It's Doddie Aid Live. I hope you are all diddling nice and well, even though for some of us it is very cold and frosty out there, but that has not deterred or dampened any of the enthusiasm. You've been out pounding the pavements, on the roads, up the hill, Dundale, all over the place. You lot are inspiring. I absolutely love it. I cannot keep up. Quite literally, I cannot keep up. Social media is going absolutely bonkers, and we have some prize winners for you. This is an action-packed show. Trust me, we have got magnificent guests. We've got the brains and the brawn, and I don't think it'll take you much to work out who's who. We've got two amazing guests, one coming up, and we've had to cut them in two because there was just too much. This is no word of a lie. I asked them the first question. I asked them the second question. 9 minutes later, you will not be disappointed. This man can talk. And I had to make sure that we split screen so that you can tell which one's which. It's going to be amazing. If you would like to donate, then you can. This is the Just Giving page for the show. If you enjoy what it is, or if you just want me to go away, then make a donation and maybe make that recommendation in the comments. It's amazing to have Janice Small with us. Hello to our good people, the sponsors at Genius. Yes, they're watching. Ian Campbell saying there's no sound. You need to sort your volume, Ian. You need to turn up the volume, my man. It's all you, because I'm pretty confident everybody else is listening. So get involved. So you've got it. You've seen it. You know what's going on. We've got no time to waste. Enough nonsense from me. It's time for me to pass over to me with the one and the only British and Irish lion, legend, Uncle Fester himself, and fellow Gru lookalike, Keith Wood. I hope you enjoy. So we've had a little bit of a chat off air. Hello, Keith Wood. How are you?
Hello, Bruce. How the hell are you?
I'm very well. I've had to put this on so they can distinguish between us.
Well, you look follically challenged and all that. I'm coming up now to very nearly 30 years bald, which is quite an interesting sort of concept. I think I'm used to it. I'm hoping other people are. It wasn't necessarily a choice. It's a reality.
Yeah, I hear you, brother. I hear you, brother. Now, we're obviously here in the name of Doddie Weir, and someone you've known in different guises, but probably most recently as a speaker.
Yeah, I know Doddie for an eternity, and of course many of those things are withering put downs. And when Doddie gets going, and it's funny, I'm still talking in the present tense, and I don't know, I may continue to do that, and I think that's acceptable. And I think there's a long enough remove from his passing to be able to smile a little bit more, and through all the sadness. But it's funny, one of not the last times I met him. I met him a lot of times since, but I met him 6 or 7 years ago. I was asked would I speak at a Bill McLaren Day in Ayr Racecourse. I don't know, do I have that? You can see it, it's out of sight over there. I've Bill's team sheet, his match sheet from one of my matches in 2001. And I was asked would I go and would I speak to that? And I'm an okay speaker. I'm not a very funny guy, but I'm an okay guy in it, in that sort of stuff. And if it's a Q&A, you can have an awful lot of a laugh with it. And I didn't realize, of course, when you're really badly briefed, which I was, I didn't have a rashers what was happening, and there was 1,400 unbelievably drunk people at lunchtime in Ayr Racecourse, and I had flown in and was flying back out again and stayed sober for the whole thing, and it was quite daunting. And so I was feeling a little bit nervous, and then I see Doddie, of course, dressed like a clown, and towering over everybody. And I said to him, geez, Doddie, I haven't seen you. How are you? And he said, I'm great. I'm very good, actually. Do you know what? I'm a little bit sick. And I said, well, sure, nothing too bad, I hope. And he said, well, actually, yeah. And I said, oh, well, you don't have to tell me. I mean, you don't need to. And he said, I've motor neuron disease. And as he said motor neuron disease, the MC said, ladies and gentlemen, Heath Wood. And I was so shell-shocked. I walked up, and of course I talked for 10 minutes about Doddie. Now, I didn't mention anything, and no, it wasn't out yet, and that he was suffering from this appalling disease. But I went up on the stage and made a total arse of myself. Everything seemed to be wrong, and I was supposed to be kind of half funny, and I really wasn't funny, and it ended up being like a tribute to Doddie. And it was, I hadn't seen him for a while, and he was in perfect form, and this was the very, very start of it. And do you know what? I remember that for a whole variety of reasons. Was he was trying to make me feel comfortable before I went up. He never stopped doing that for the rest of his life, actually. So he didn't complain, and if he did complain, it was at home, and he shielded the world from it, probably not his family from it. And he was lucky, and his family are magic, so that the idea that they would cocoon him, but he bore it with such, I don't know, courage and pride and grace, all the different words that you wouldn't have ever said the grace for him, so it was, he got the English language to work in his favor at the end. But he was a tough, awkward, just bloody awkward, because he was all arms and legs. And when you play against him, he was tough. He would put it about. He was a big man, but you always kind of collided with some part of him, and whether he meant it or not was irrelevant, I would have felt. But we always had crack afterwards. We always had a wee dram afterwards, and we have an interesting history with whiskey. And we had, there was warmth. And then you go on a Lions tour with him, and he was a wonderful tourist. And without overplaying it, I think people got to see from that Lions video, from the Living with Lions, they got to see the devastation of a player knowing his tour was over. And they got to see, with a camera stuck in your face, the resignation and the devastation and the let's get on with the next part of it. Pretty extraordinary. And I cherish that video because of the insight that it did give to touring. It was totally, they were away from us, and so there was a few people spoke into the camera, but it wasn't really about that. It was about cameramen being in the corner of a room, taking a view of things, but without being part of it themselves for the most part. And that was one of the most graphic, actually, seeing Doddie after being stamped on the leg. And all the crack and the fun that would go with it then afterwards. Then I met him, of course, on parts of the little post-match circuit. I didn't do a huge amount of it, but I do a bit of it. And you'd see him, and I just, you don't have a hope. You just, the second you're up talking with a microphone, I'd always say, be wary of a man with a microphone, because, they're used to it. But I was used to it, but I wasn't used to it compared to Doddie. He'd wither you. It was magic, So we had... That was the question I don't even know if you asked, and it doesn't really matter. But loved him to bits. Had a wonderful time with him. Saw him on parts of the journey that he was having. Saw him when he came over to Ireland to fundraising, and everything he did was fundraising. And I thought he managed to weigh that very well. Because I think there's a legacy, of course there's a legacy, and we're going to talk about that later on, but there's a legacy in terms of fundraising. There's a legacy in terms of holding up a mirror to this disease, which is a really big thing. There's also a legacy to show, and I'm going to say his kids, but I'm also going to say rugby followers and all kids, that you can deal with the disasters in a different way. And it's not that everybody has to deal with it in the same way, but he found a particular fashion that galvanized a huge number of people. I think part of the onus then sits on us that legacy, is to try and promote that again and again, while still living our own lives. I will say that one thing, and it can't be just that. We have to be able to get that balance right for ourselves. And I would say that for all the people, for all his close friends, for all the people he lived beside, for some of his Scottish teammates, the selfless nature of Gary Armstrong or Rob Wainwright, or, you know, those people, and all the people that we don't know, you know, you included, Bruce, and, you know, that go and deliver and have delivered on the thought and the idea of trying to find some way to a solution for this disease.
There's so much in there, and I could listen to you all night. You spoke about present tense. I think some of that is because we're actually doing something in his name. We're almost seeing him and hearing him every day, and we're going to have this is the first Doddie Aid without Doddie. We're going to have the first Scotland International without Doddie. We're going to have the first Melrose Sevens without Doddie. So there's still quite a lot of milestones to come up, and that legacy is right in front of us. How do you think we're doing at honouring that?
Yeah, you're doing a crap job, Bruce. No, I think people are honouring it really well. And when I say you have to remember to live your life too, and I don't take this in any way the wrong way, but you absolutely want to honour a guy who has done something. But, you know, you need to be able to shake the trees a little bit. You need to get the government to prick up a little, to try and react on the promises that they made. And I know they've started to do that. There is also a fear within the game that this is something that could become more prevalent, though we have to wait for all those studies to be properly analysed for that to be the case. But there's an impetus that was built, and most things just stop when a life stops, and that hasn't been the case here. And, you know, when we go to the memorial service, that in many ways was a call to arms to say, let's go and do some more. Let's do some other things that can be done. Can we keep making this happen for a period of time? And I think there's probably a natural timeline to that. I don't know what that natural timeline is, but this will stop at some stage. Can it get to a critical mass where people with the real money can make this become something of a reality? And I think that's ultimately what you're looking for. And I think everybody has to be realistic and unrealistic with that, you know, because Doddie wasn't even vaguely realistic in terms of this. So, and so I often describe his work as being so utterly selfless, because I think he knew in his heart of hearts that this wasn't going to be a solution for him. Yeah. But he was bigger than that, so that's kind of allowed, and I think we're all allowed to do it too. I mean, I'll admit to the fact that I have yet to sign up for Doddie Aid, so I'm going to be. No, you wouldn't believe the grief that causes me in my own house. I have a Scottish wife for my sins, but so that is something that will be rectified today, and so that's going to happen. I have 3 half Scottish sons who are also giving me grief. So we're going to do all of that sort of stuff together, and we'll see where that gets to.
Please tell me Gregor Townsend's been on the phone for the 3 half Scottish.
Oh my God, you're bloody relentless. All the Scots at the bloody memorial. It came up twice, right? Not from Gregor, thankfully. I was staying with Gregor. He was looking after me. I think that was his own little subtle way of we always have a home up here, but. You know, it was a bit different, and I think that's kind of cool as well. But I wanted to say the memorial was amazing. It was amazing to catch up with some of the guys, you know, and I still felt it was going to be a celebration, and it was a celebration. I think his 3 boys are magic. I think his wife is magic. I think they bore all that with, you know, the eyes of the world on them in many respects, and they bore it very comfortably as well. And everybody wanted good things and fun for there. And it was lovely watching everybody coming out for that. And it was lovely watching a lot of the locals as well. And that's all those things are really important. And we should never forget that rugby is global and local. And and it only survives if the local stuff works, and that's something that's very important as well. But I mentioned the whiskey bit earlier on. We did have a little trip 6 weeks before he passed away. We got up to 𝙒𝙤𝙙𝙾𝙗𝙗.
I've heard some snippets of this.
How's my pronunciation? Is that okay?
Yeah, I'll take it. I think that you should write a book on it. That you said it before. Interesting history with whiskey.
Yes, and we had Doddie up there, and with a good few of the lads from his Scottish days, and it was lovely. It was a privilege, actually. They looked after us really well up there, but it was a privilege in terms of spending that bit of time. It was something he really wanted to do, and we cajoled people to maneuver that to make that happen. So that was kind of nice as well. And there's a couple of pictures on those days with that spark still in his eyes, and his voice was just beginning to go at that stage. So, look, they're a memory that I'm never going to forget.
Yeah, I love it. you gotta love him. What an absolute start. But can I just get a round of applause no matter where you are? If you're sitting on the bus watching this or you're in your living room, can we just get a round of applause because Ian Campbell can now hear us? Thanks, Ian. I'm glad you've managed. Good lad, Ian. Well played. Welcome to the party. So we're on. We've had part 1. There's part 2 to come with Keith Wood. It was a real pleasure to get to speak to him. So this is unscripted. Believe it or not, this is unscripted. I've got a competition. Mr. Genius is going to agree in the comments section if he's accepting this, but the winner is going to receive a 12-pack of Genius. Okay, so can Genius please just comment to make sure they're happy with this? I want you to finish the sentence. Keith Wood and Doddie had an interesting history with whiskey. I want you in the comments to say, we have an interesting history with, and I want you to finish that sentence. Now, remember, this is a PG audience, but the funniest one is going to get a 12-pack of Genius. We have an interesting history with. Go for it. Make me laugh. We'll put up some of the best ones on the screen and we'll mention some of them, and then we'll award a winner at some point. And the good guys at Genius, I'm pretty confident we'll be able to stick a 12-pack to you. Otherwise, it might be somebody else hosting next week because I've just got myself in trouble. Go for it. We have an interesting history with. Finish the sentence. Keith Wood mentioned it. There were locals at the memorial alongside him as a lion, and I wrote something after it saying, thank you, Jason at Genius, saying locals, legends, and lions. If you're watching this, you're one of those things. What are you? Are you a local, you a legend, or a lion? Well, there's lots of things going on that legends have organised. Have you got your tickets yet for the Doddcast live show? Get involved. It's going to be in the comments, so you can hit the link. It'll take you to where you get the tickets. Look at that. Jim Hamilton, Jill Douglas, Rob Wainwright, and many, many more. Be afraid. Rob Wainwright live. Go for it. It'll be an absolutely brilliant night. 6 until 7:30, and I'm pretty confident the party will continue long after that. What a great lineup. Get involved, get there, and feel part of it. We also have the Doddie Aid regatta. I've never been to a regatta before. Have you ever been to a regatta? The Britannia has never looked better, and if I can get there, then I'll give you a wee tour back in the olden days as a student working on the Britannia. So that'll be an amazing event. It'll be streamed. There'll be lots of ways for you to get involved, so keep an eye on all the socials. And then there's also the Doddie Aid prize draw, the auction and the prize draw. Amazing things in there. Look at that. That purple shirt with the Doddie Aid tartan number is going to go for thousands and thousands, I hope. I'm really hoping that goes very, very far. All the links for these things are in the comments. So get involved, click the link, have a look, and see if you can be part of it. Now, this week, last year, Team South got the Doddie Aid flag flying from the council chambers down in Newtown, St Boswell's, down south. And this year, Edinburgh decided to get involved, and everybody's applauding them and saying, well done, Edinburgh. We did it first. The South did it first. But well played, Edinburgh. Then they had the one and the only Mr. Mark Beaumont, Doddie Aid champion, there for the ceremony. Have a watch of this.
Well, it's a beautiful, chill Monday morning. I'm here with the Lord Provost of Edinburgh for a very special occasion, which I'll let him explain. But a fitting gesture, not just for Team Edinburgh, though proud to be a part of that, but Doddie Aid 2023.
Yeah, Doddie Aid 2023 is really important to the city. We were delighted today to be able to raise a flag above the city chambers to show our support for the Doddie Aid 2023 campaign. We've got another 4 weeks to run, and I hope people will get involved in raising money for this very worthy cause. We're here in the quadrangle where Doddie Weir's handprints are in stone. People can come and see them. They're huge handprints from a huge man and a huge personality whose legacy will live on. And let's hope we can get a cure for MND and help as many people with MND as possible through this.
Absolutely class. How hot's Mark Beaumont? And I reckon he's after my job asking the questions. Why did I not get an invite? I'll tell you why I didn't get an invite, because I'm Team Sooth. Well done, Mark. And look at this. This is a picture of the magnificent flag flying above Edinburgh. It is absolutely beautiful, set against the blue sky. It's always like that in Scotland. Anybody that's watching from Team Barbarians or Team Wales, blue sky in Scotland, always guaranteed. Come for your holidays. Costa del Edinburgh. It's magic. Now, enough nonsense. We do all these things and we talk about this, that why we're raising the money, where does the money go, what does it do? Well, who better to get on and talk about it than one of the experts, one of those people that we are trying to fund to make a difference and make an impact. So we've heard from Keith Wood. It's now time for the brains and the personality of the one and the only Jessica Lee. Good evening, Jess. How are you?
Hello, I'm very good. Very happy to be here. So thanks for the invite, Bruce.
Oh, delighted. And we had a chat last night on the phone, and it was amazing. And I said to you that this was for you to make it idiot proof. And I was the test last night. I was your idiot. So now you're going to put things into terms that we can all understand. So firstly, Jess, tell us what your role is.
So I'm the Director of Research at My Name's Doddie Foundation. So my job really is to work with experts across the MND community to decide where we think the smartest, most efficient research exists, so that we can invest all this amazing funding towards finding effective treatments and ultimately a cure for motor neuron disease. So it's a very big job. It's very important to me personally, and I absolutely love it. So excited to talk about it a bit more today.
It's amazing to hear the enthusiasm in your voice for it, but you obviously feel like this is an impactful thing and you relish it.
Yeah, exactly. It's such an important area to work in. Obviously, motor neuron disease is a devastating condition. We're starting to see a lot of hope come through, a lot of innovation in the field. And I think now really is the time to invest in research and keep changing that tide and really bringing about new treatments for people who are living with this disease. And it's amazing to see how successful Doddie Aid has been this year, as well as lots of other events that we're running. And it's a big responsibility, but a great responsibility to be thinking about where best to put those funds to create the biggest impact we possibly can as a foundation.
Now, this strikes me as being not just an important job, but it must be quite challenging. How do you weigh up? Do they approach you to say, here's the type of research we're planning, or do you approach organizations to say, here's an idea? How does the process work?
So we're actually going through the process of setting our new research strategy at the moment. And this, we want to make sure that not only are we funding the smartest, most efficient research possible, but we're funding the research that matters most to people living with the disease, people working in research, but also healthcare professionals who look after people with MND. So we've just gone through a prioritization exercise where we've asked our community, where do you think we should be focusing our funds? So this is a group decision-making exercise. We've got the results of that, and we're now going through expert consultations to make sure that we can pinpoint exactly where we should be putting that research. What we then do is engage with the wider research community. We find the most brightest minds doing the most innovative research, and we invite them to apply for the research funding. So that's a competitive process. We reach out to experts in the field and we make sure that we review each one of those applications so that we really are funding the best science out there that is going to get us closer to our vision, which is a world free of MND.
Right. The numbers just blow my mind with money. So, you know, Doddie Aid, day 11, I think it was £1 million. How far does £1 million go?
£1 million, it goes far. So it depends what kind of research you're talking about. So, for example, if you want to fund a clinical trial, over the past year or so, we've invested, well, couple of years, almost £1 million into a very large clinical trial. And in part because of our investment, more people than ever before are now able to access a clinical trial for MND in the UK, which is a huge milestone. It's a complete transformation from where we were just 5 years ago. So that kind of funding is absolutely transformational. But then we also fund projects to find new drugs, to develop drugs and then test them in the lab. And £1 million will fund several projects in that area. So it's really a lot of money when it comes to research. It's not to get a drug to market, it costs billions of pounds sometimes. So what we want to do is feed the pipeline. We want to be investing in that really innovative research to find the best ideas. We want to get the data so that other people believe in those ideas, and then find the bigger, more transformational funding that is going to carry that through to the clinic and ultimately to people with MND. So, it's a 360-degree process that we have to look at. We see ourselves as the catalyst, but we need to continue the research through that pipeline as well.
It just, I'm so pleased that we've got people like you in those positions, Jess. It's amazing. Now, you mentioned something there, and I want to pick up on it. You said 5 years ago. Now, that fits about right with Doddie's Foundation, Doddie's diagnosis of making an impact. We were talking off air about the history and how it's always been there, but maybe it wasn't known, it wasn't public, there wasn't the funding going into it. We know that. Anytime you listen to Doddie talk, he was annoyed because there'd been so little done over such a long period of time. Has there been an acceleration since the foundation?
Well, I think so. Doddie personally has played a huge role in raising awareness of MND. So many more people know what MND is now, which is hugely important for fundraising. But the foundation itself, so we've existed for 5 years now. We've raised over £10 million, which is just astonishing for such a new foundation. And we've committed almost 8 million to research, with more to come. So yeah, it's really great. But what we've been told by researchers and by other funders is that we've really come into this space as a breath of fresh air. We've been a disruptor. We've challenged the research community. So not only have we funded research, but we're pushing people to think differently. And we'll continue to do that. I think we kind of punch way above our weight, and I think the foundation has had a huge impact on the research landscape.
So you said something really similar there to what Keith Wood said. Doddie was disruptive, was what Keith Wood said. The foundation's been disruptive, is what you said. Now, it must be easier to be disruptive if you've got money.
Definitely, yes. Money, a big personality, communities like this that help us reach out to the right people. And I guess, being a voice of influence, which I think we now definitely are as a foundation, but that funding is just so important so that we can reach out to the brightest researchers and fund the best projects. And The other thing that we were starting to do more and more is partner with other funders, so that not only are we putting our funding into research, but we're leveraging more funding from others so that more money is going into M&D research. So to date, for every £1 we've spent on research, we've leveraged another 69 pence from other funders into the area. And that's something that we're really keen to grow so that we can bring, I guess, more impact and leverage that against our own investment.
Right, Jessica, I hate to make this sound like a job interview, but can you please tell me what your qualifications are? Because I think you're about to blow my 𝙒𝙤𝙙𝙾𝙤 degree in a Bachelor of Education for Physical Education out of the water. What's your qualifications?
So I've got a Bachelor of Science in cell biology, which is incredibly niche. And as part of that, I worked in industry. So I worked in large pharmaceutical companies developing drugs. I've got an MPhil in cancer biology. And actually, my first couple of roles were in cancer research. And most recently, before I came to the foundation, I was working at a government organisation with various charities to help them accelerate drug discovery. My Name's Doddie Foundation actually approached me in my last role about 3 years ago, and I didn't know much about M&D until I started working with them, and I loved it so much that I jumped ship and I actually came to work with the foundation. So it's been an amazing 3 years learning about this disease. I'm so massively passionate about it now, and yeah, I couldn't be happier to be at the foundation.
Well, we're glad to hear that, but I'm thinking underlying there is Jill Douglas gets what Jill Douglas wants is just what I'm thinking. I'm just putting that out there. And Carol Hogg, if he's watching, is going, yeah, she certainly does. Jess, tell us what's happening now then. What can we expect? Because when we spoke last night, you were very honest with me. You know, people are out pounding the streets. We're involved in Doddie Aid. It'll finish in February. Then other things happen, and there's other events planned. Give us an idea for what sort of progress we should be looking for and what's realistic.
So I guess let's start by saying that there's currently only in the UK only one treatment that's licensed for the treatment of M&D, which was proved over 20 years ago. And drug discovery in this area is very challenging. However, over the last 10 to 15 years, our amazing research community have found out so much new information and insights about the biology of M&D that it's starting to become slightly less challenging. There's new treatments. There's actually quite a big pipeline of new treatments that are coming through that some look really promising. They are not cures at the moment. They're treatments that we think will significantly slow or potentially even stop progression of M&D in some people. But this is, the fact that we can now see potential effective treatments on the horizon is a huge step forward from where we were just 10, 15 years ago. So I see a lot of hope in this space. I think new treatments are coming through, which is really positive. But what we need to not take our eye off is a cure for M&D. So to me, a cure is a treatment that will stop or reverse progression of the disease, so people do not have symptoms anymore. And that is the longer game, but it's something that we're really keen to invest in. And I think what Doddie wanted more than anything was for one day nobody else to have to face what he has ever again. So that's, Doddie started the foundation with that in mind, and we're now here to fulfill his legacy. So we'll continue that search for a cure for definite.
Jessica Lee, you have just absolutely smashed it, because we've now got people firing comments in like this who are just so pleased. So thank you for what you're doing, and that is absolutely heartfelt. We've got so many people who are watching and listening in, and people that it means a huge amount to. you know, and Paul there, who's commenting, if you know MND in Scotland, you know Paul, because he's an absolute warrior. Jess, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to ask you to stick around though, because we're going to give out some prizes from the good people at Genius, who have supported the foundation through thick and thin from the beginning. Jason and Charlie doing lots of great work. So we've, from each of the teams, we've got a winner. Our first winner tonight is from Glasgow. Julie O'Donoghue is our Glasgow winner, who's been out pushing herself. And it looks like Julie's got her hands full with that lot. How well do they scrub up? Well played, because that cannot have been easy. How far have you gone, Jess? What's the furthest you've gone? Is a 9-mile run about standard for you?
I'm actually 30 weeks pregnant at the moment, so usually I'd be doing much longer hikes. At the moment, it's my dog walk at lunchtime.
Yeah, well played. We did talk about that last night, and we said that that's good, though. We love it. 30 weeks pregnant. Congratulations.
Thank you.
There's another big responsibility coming your way. And then we have the Northern Mids. Now, this one took a while, but we got there in the end. This is the one and the only Ian Clark, who set himself a target of 1,000 miles on his bike. Hugely enthusiastic about the foundation, really supportive team member. I don't think you're going to be getting on a bike anytime soon, Jess, are you?
I'm not, but that is a great effort.
1,000 miles, and they're going to finish off with the cycle from Wales to Edinburgh for the Doddie Cup with the Scotland-Wales game. So, yeah, I've now got a bike. I've borrowed a bike. I'm not doing that, but I've got a bike. Now, this one is my choice. The South winner is David Parker, and how cool is that, Jess?
Amazing. Really, really amazing.
Clive, the guide dog. David, I have to admit, it's actually Clive that I want to win, but I'm not sure you can give Clive the genius. That'd be like that movie Turner and Hooch. You'd be too young for that, Jess. I think I'm going for a bit of a niche market there. So well done to David Parker, who's pounding the streets and is pretty determined, especially today after seeing Edinburgh flying the flag. He wants the South flag back. So I've had Sandy Aitchison on at me saying, "Where's the flag? Where's the flag?" So we're going to have flags all over Scotland, we hope. Could we send one down to you, Jess?
Yeah, send it to Cheshire. I will fly the flag.
Is there anybody around you aware of what's going on?
In terms of Doddie Aid?
Doddie Aid.
Well, all my family are signed up. My partner Tom and my mum are currently having a huge battle of who can get the most miles, which is great because it means that Tom's walking the dog a lot more.
Is it a comfortable battle, or are you in the middle of an uncomfortable mum and partner battle?
Well, I think Tom is the one that's a lot more competitive. I think my mum walks a lot, so she's just getting on with the day. It's Tom that checks the phone every night. He's like, "Oh, she's done another 6 miles." It's 9 p.m. and he's out walking the dog to catch her up.
Good, that's the beauty of the league. We've got it all happening. You're walking the dog, 30 weeks pregnant, and then we've got a competition going. There's Julie waded in. Well done, Julie. Right, Julie, please get your details to the good people at Genius. Otherwise, there'll be a battle on WhatsApp again this bloody week as well. Down in Wales, now, Jess, would have showed you this off air. You went, whoa. This one is the happy runner, Vic Owens. Now, that doesn't tell the whole story. Vic Owens is a barefoot runner. That's bonkers, isn't it?
It's crazy.
That's like when you see British people walk into the beach, how on earth can people be running the streets in bare feet? That's just not on. So if you want young people, she's on Instagram at The Happy Runner. Go and check out the barefoot running. I didn't even really know that was a thing other than Zola Bud in the 80s.
I don't even wear bare feet in my own house. I've always got slippers on. Never mind going outside for a run.
There's dog hair all over the place. It's now the Edinburgh winner is a man I spoke to last week and is completing a ridiculous challenge. I'm not sure what he's going to do with these 12 Genius, and I believe he's very recently retired as well. So let's have a watch of this video from the one and the only, the Edinburgh winner, Mr. Gregor Miller.
Morning everybody, Gregor from the Kelly Crossing Crusade. How are we doing this morning? Well, it's been a bit of a day today. I'm out doing a quick 12 miles before work. As you can see, I've just gone past the base of the Oak Coast. Behind me, this monument and the castle, Stirling Castle. Bit of a day today, like I said. I was told this morning that an old friend of the family's has got an illness, and unfortunately our husband has just been diagnosed with MND as well, motor neurons disease. So yeah, not the best news this morning. However, what it does do is it shows that my work isn't going to go in vain. We need to get out there, we need to get publicising motor neurons disease, we need to find that cure for motor neurons disease and start raising as much funds as we can. Like I said, 12 miles today, my main missions start in March. I've done countless hours, hundreds of hours so far, thousands of miles I've put under my trainers. I'm on about my 5th pair of trainers already. Just grafting away, tired, very tired. But listen, it's all for a great cause. It's all to find that research for motor neuron disease, and let's find that cure. Okay, I'm doing it. So my name's Doddie Foundation, MND Scotland, and the Ewan McDonald Centre, all of whom find that research. They've got the professors, they've got the scientists, they've got the doctors, they've got everything on board to try and find this cure for motor neurons disease. So my thoughts and prayers go out to the family. They know who they are. I'm not going to discuss it on Facebook or any social media sites. They know who they are. My thoughts and prayers go out to them. Let's go back and do my little bit for the next 9 months to try and help you, as I know how it feels being part of a family who's been torn apart with motor neurons disease, let alone your other illness that you're going through. So thoughts and prayers to you. Just keep fighting that good fight, everybody. Come on, Team Edinburgh and Doddie Aid. If you're not registered to Doddie Aid. And thank you for everything that you can possibly do to help me raise funds. The link will be on. My link is constantly showing for the 𝙒𝙤𝙙𝙾 Crusade. That's only one out of my 5 huge challenges over the next 9 months. Keep watching, keep following, keep sharing. Thank you ever so much. Take care, everybody. God bless.
Jess, what does watching something like that do for somebody in your position?
Do you know, it's obviously heartbreaking every time that you hear when somebody has had personal experience of motor neuron disease. It is horrible disease, both for the person who has it and their family. But seeing people who are just so determined to make a difference is amazing. And it's because of people like that we can raise the funds that we need to invest in research. So although it's sad, it's also really heartwarming to see how MND brings these communities together and can ultimately drive forward research.
Yeah, Gregor's an amazing guy. He lost his dad to MND, so he's massively inspired and motivated. I love that in the video he said, "I'm out for a quick 12 miles." I don't think that's a phrase will ever leave my lips. But he's doing a half marathon, a full marathon, 50 miles, 100 miles. I think he's running Glasgow to Edinburgh, so he's doing Scotstoun to Murrayfield, and then he's doing a 165-mile run from Inverness to Edinburgh. That is just off the chart, isn't it? That's bonkers.
It's amazing. It blows my daily dog walk out of the park for sure.
Well, we love your daily dog walk too, and remember he's not 30 weeks pregnant, so you know, come on. That amazing, Gregor. Keep going, my man, and I'll speak to you soon. All power to you. And then we have the barbarian Susie Marriott. What a spectacular lady! Let's watch the video, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. So this is Susie Marriott, our Team Babas winner. you think you were in Orkney, the Highlands, the Borders, Glasgow. I mean, amazing to have that in Ormskirk, in deepest, darkest Englandshire. Susie organised a park run, 218 runners. The Piper, obviously, Doddie cupcakes, and they raised £454 for the foundation. You got to applaud stuff like that, Jess, haven't you?
Definitely. Sounds amazing, and sounds like a whole lot of fun for everyone that was there as well.
Yeah, and so important to have fun while we're doing it. Jess, it's been amazing to have you. You've been very popular in the comments, which means I think you're going to be in demand again. So thank you so much. Enjoy. I hope everything goes well with the pregnancy, and you know, it's going to be a boy, and I reckon Doddie Bruce Lee got to happen. Drop the Doddie and just have Bruce Lee. I mean, that wouldn't get any bullying in the playground, would it?
Exactly.
Jessica, wonderful to see you. Thank you so much. All the very best.
Thank you. See you later.
Love it. What an amazing lady. That I love hearing from the scientists, the people that are making it happen, and you're doing all that good work. You heard it. The foundation, Doddie, that has sparked an acceleration in what's happening. So please keep it going. Go and get somebody to sign up. Come on. Go and get one or two more people to sign up, and it'll all get in there. It is spectacular. So thank you to our good friends at Genius for the support. It is very, very much appreciated. You're doing great things. I think it's 5p from every can or every bottle goes to the foundation. So keep drinking. It's good stuff, and it's going to a good cause. And they keep trying to tell me that it's got fewer calories than an apple. I'm not sure if they're saying you should have a Genius instead of an apple, but you know, it seems like there's something there for everybody. Doddie Aid are giving a discount. If you use Doddie Aid 15 at the checkout, then you get 15% off. So you can go to geniusbrewing.com to pick up that. All worth it, believe us. And now let's hear a word from our sponsors. Lots of very handsome people in there, and me. And we also have other partners like 𝙿𝙤𝙙𝙼, our good friends at 𝙿𝙤𝙼 who are helping out. There's all the team stash. You got the different colors for your team, and hardly any profit is kept by 𝙿𝙼𝙼. They're sending it all to the foundation, and I think we are over 200 grand from 𝙿𝙼𝙼. That is amazing support. So anything you buy from 𝙿𝙼𝙼, any Doddie merchandise, the profit is going back to the foundation. So fill your boots with a district t-shirt or hoodie. Get yourself some Doddie merch on there, the rugby shirts, the t-shirts. There's all sorts of stuff on 𝙿𝙼𝙼. Go to the website and pick yourself up some stash. Buy somebody as a gift, and then you're also helping the charity. What a great way and great support. Adele's very happy. Now, Adele is really looking forward to her hoodie arriving tomorrow. So name her postal strikes. Make sure Adele gets her hoodie tomorrow. So it's all happening. You're making it happen on social media. Sean has been putting these videos together so that we can see what you lot are up to. And this is one of those moments in the show that I tend to get a big, stupid grin on my face. So let's cut to it. Let's see what you've been up to this week. amazing. It seems like it's been everywhere. The coast, uphill, Doondale, overseas, class. And my favourite was getting to see Rocco and Maddox rocking their snoods. There was a guy who had a horse on his head. Like that's extreme. Either get on the horse or just go for a run. There was a guy who had a horse on his head. And Stuart Bennett still hanging on to the hair. Come on, Benzo, just take it off. It's got to go, Benzo. It's got to go. Skin is the way forward. And if you needed any more evidence, I think it's time for us to see part 2. Keith Wood, enjoy. And Doddie obviously had a couple of crackers in there that are going to last for a very long time. You just looked like you loved being a tourist. Doddie Weir looked like he loved being a tourist. Ben Toss, there was certain people you just shone through. Now, one of the bits that I love about it is when it's court time. It's time for the judge. Now, there's a line in there where you're shouting at 𝙒𝙙𝙙𝙾𝙻, but his name's Bruce.
Yeah, I mean, look, in fairness, it became entertaining. We were always used to court sessions back in my 𝙤𝙤𝙙𝙾𝙻 days, and we used to always have a court session. Well, not always, but we'd have one a couple of times a year. But you need people to tune in. Well, 𝙤𝙙𝙙𝙾𝙻 wasn't tuning in, you know.
Bruce,
𝙤𝙙𝙻𝙾𝙻. He'd forgotten. So he'd only been told his name 3 minutes previously, but anyway, but between him and Neil Jenkins, I saw Neil Jenkins at the memorial, and you know, you just want to give the man a big bear hug every time you see him. And not the most attractive sight, the pair of us hugging each other, but nonetheless, but it was just great because it is great, and there was, you know, like, funny because when you look back in the tour, and there was a lot of fun in the tour, but the joy of the tour was the hard work in the training sessions. It was the fun in the team room, and it was winning on the field. And I can tell you with great comfort, and we didn't win an awful lot with Ireland, and didn't win a lot of matches with Ireland at that stage. This was we had 4 Irish guys on that tour. This was our opportunity to win in the international field, and thankfully we took it. It's the hardest thing I ever did. Winning was hard, you know. I mean, it was unbelievably hard, but it was built on friendship and trust, a huge amount. Great coaches, guys that you'd follow anywhere. I mean, I listened to Jim Telford talking. We had a reunion during the year, and I listened to Jim talk, and I said, Jesus, I'd follow him anywhere still to this day. And we said at the time we'd have followed Jim anywhere, but if he coached us for another week, we'd have probably had to kill him. But it was magic, you know, and all that stuff was just, and to have a reunion, I have to say, we had a reunion during last summer, and the level of emotion in that was pretty stark.
So I was sitting behind 𝙤𝙤𝙙𝙾 at the memorial, and I mean, like you've said, somebody you'd fall into battle, but he made that speech about 25 years time, you'll meet up and there'll just be a look. Is that what it is?
Bloody Nostradamus is who 𝙤𝙤𝙀 is. I mean, he was able to see into the future in a heartbeat. But that is the most accurate line of all time, and I've used that a few times as a reference to young kids. And I don't coach a huge amount, but I remember talking to my eldest fellow was in first year. It's 10 years ago, whatever it was. And I'm just saying, this is your team. This will always be your first year team. Nobody else can join it after the fact. So remember it and look around at the people that are there, because this is a very special thing. And I was trying to paraphrase 𝙤𝙤𝙀, of course, not as eloquent as he was, but I mean, that point that was there was incredibly real, and you see it now still. You actually also see it with other Lions players from different teams for some reason. The Lions are so rare. You know, every 4 years, it's very difficult to try and win, and we've been very fortunate the last few tours that we've done well. The way we were set up back in those days, I remember some of the press things before we went on that tour, that this could be the last Lions tour. Well, no pressure on you if you think you're going to be the last one to wear the jersey, you know. And And look, I grew up in a house. My father played for the Lions, so this was a big thing for all of us. But no, I still look back on that tour as something incredibly special. And I will go back to the reunion. That it was only a few weeks after Tom Smith had died, and Doddie wasn't very well there, and he was there, but he lived it for the time he was there. He really did, and it was pretty wonderful.
And Tom Smith, I think, made it into your all-time greatest 15, didn't he?
Tom is like an old armchair. That's just, I only played with him on line tours, so I played with him a few matches, and then 4 years later, a few matches more. It was as if no time had passed, and wonderful, absolutely. And I got to meet his son, who I hadn't seen since he was a very small kid, at Doddie's memorial, and we had a wonderful chat, and it was great. Zoe and he were there, and it was magic, and as I said, it was a celebration, but it was also an opportunity for people to meet. And maybe we should be doing more of the reunions, because this is only ever a one-way trip.
Yeah, and it's a shame that it takes something like that to bring people together. We should celebrate when we're all still here. So, Keith, you've been around the world. You've played rugby at the highest level. You've won at the highest level. You were the best player in the world, no question. No, you won the award, so it must be true.
Well, yeah, and now all those awards are perfect. They're absolutely perfect. Yeah, go on.
There's never been a debate. Certainly not about you. You beat a Lion. You speak newspaper, TV, and now we get to this point. Sell it to us. You're going to sign up for Doddie Aid. You've made that promise. Encourage others to do the same for me, please.
Yeah, I think so. And bearing in mind, I'm not the spokesperson for this, right? So I'm not going to I'm putting that caveat out there, right? I think it's worth it because it's easy, and that's the first thing. It's easy to decide to get fit during the year. You have to start somewhere. It's infinitely easier if you look at any of the health data. It's infinitely easier if you do it in a group. The joy of Doddie Aid is you can do it in a global group, and you can do it while throwing not a huge amount of cash into the pot, and be part of something an awful lot bigger than yourself, and hopefully put that dial a little bit closer to the solution that Doddie was looking for.
I absolutely love it. Keith Wood, it's been an absolute honour, and probably a big tick for me in the column of things I must do to get a chance to speak to you. Thank you so much for giving up your time.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure.
You're an absolute gentleman. Thank you, Keith. All the best. Supersonic Irish a couple of times there. Just what a guy. The enthusiasm, and very humble. Where have we heard that before? Love him. Absolutely love him. There's some cracking things happening in the comments. We've got a few things going on. Morven's she's typing away, loving it. Thank you, Morven. It's nice to have you with us. Please, if you can, finish the sentence. We have an interesting history with, and the best one will get a 12-pack of Genius sent to them. There's one or two cracking ones going around, and it seems like there's maybe some questions to be asked about some of it, I have to admit. But it's good. Keep it going, please. Keep posting. Finish the sentence. We have an interesting history with. Now, where has it got us to? Well, we are now going to have a little look at the table. Let's see the leaderboard and see what we've got, and see if there's any changes that could maybe happen over the next week. I've got a horrible feeling that Morven McKenzie's sitting there chuckling away because the Northern Mids are sitting pretty at the top, and well played, because they're the only team that have gone through the 8,000 member barrier. We are covering some ground for Doddie Aid, and Team Wales are really rallying. First year, debut season with big Scotty Quinnell. almost at the 2,500 members, and it's growing. Jamie Balsh has been away to New York and back, still posting videos for Doddie Aid. If you don't follow Jamie Balsh on Instagram, please get on there, because he is all over it. He's loving being involved. Barbarians are there. Chris Hoy's had a little jump in popularity today, I think, because the flag is flying. Hopefully that'll be a talking point. Come on, Team South. Come on, let's get to 8,000. Glasgow, you've got to get to 5. You've got to get the way Glasgow Warriors are playing at the moment. You lot must be happy. So come on, sign up for Doddie Aid and get involved. Well done, folks. Keep it going. It is absolutely amazing. If you'd like to donate to the show, if you've enjoyed it, we're almost there. Congratulations for making it this far. There it is. You can donate pounds, you can donate pennies. It all goes into the pot. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. Now, before we finish, today would have been the 60th birthday of somebody that meant a lot to Doddie Weir, and I'm kind of humbled to say, to me too. He's up here, he's on my wall looking down on me every day, and I think about him often. I spoke about him on Saturday night when I was away down to Peebles Rugby Club talking nonsense. It was the one and the only Scotty Glynn, MBE, or as some people knew him, Big Scotty Fruity. And there he is with Doddie. Now I'm going to tell you a little Scotty Glynn story. Scotty ended up with cancer, unfortunately, and that was what took him in the end. And him and Doddie had a phone call, and Scotty said, "Doddie, you'll never guess what's happened, big man. I'm not very well. I've got the big C." And Doddie said, "Well, do you know what, Scotty? I'm not very well either. I've got MND." And Scotty said, I can't even have a better disease than you, big man." That was the humour that the two of them had. Amazing guys. If you were in the same room as Big Scotty Fruity and Doddie Weir, you were very, very lucky. And I'm pretty sure you would have a story to tell. And if you've never heard it, if you've never heard Scotty Glynn tell his budgie story, get yourself onto YouTube. You will be in tears, in absolute tears. So, Scotty, I'm pretty sure you and Big Dodge are up there doing something with nonsense and laughter and fun. Thank you so much for everything you did for me, both Doddie and Scotty, two giants of men. Absolutely loved them both. Both did so much for charity for other people, and I'm kind of lucky to say for me too. So all the best to everybody. Thank you. So much going on. Morven's there, pretty smug, pretty happy, fantastic effort all round, but she's rubbing her hands saying, but North and Midlands are the best. Ian Campbell's been with us all night, and he's even got the sound on now. He's going out to break the 100 miles. Go for it, Ian. Thank you. And Jessica, you are quite right. Please, Jessica, is Sagittarius genuinely your surname? I've never met a Sagittarius. Well, I've met a Sagittarius, but I've never met a Sagittarius, if you get what I mean. You're coming, but I'm pretty sure, Jessica, even though we are small, we are mighty. Erin, you say the sweetest things. Thank you, Erin. Oh, Julie, would you stop it? Would you stop it? Ian, you're dead right. They'll be up there having a few drams, because I'm pretty confident those two have got quite a history with whiskey. What have you got quite a history with? What have you got a history with? Come on, get in there so that you can get your prize of 12 Genius. We have an interesting history with, and if you put Bruce Aitchison, you might win. Until next week, folks, get out there, get on your bike, get out paddling, get out running, get out walking, take the dog, hang the washing, whatever you do, record it. If you can, recruit some other people, put some pennies in the pot, and do it with a smile, all in the name of Doddie Weir. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week. Love you all.